Evening everyone, it's Tom Sidney Bushnell aka Numbers here from Psych Club. So it's been a few days since I last shared something with you, so I hope you've all been well. It's been a nice time to reflect and catch up on a few things and watch a couple of President Trump's addresses. So who's in? Let's have a look. We've got a thumbs up there from someone. Who's in the room? So President Trump spoke in Texas on Friday, I believe, yeah, Friday. And then he also spoke at one of his rallies on Saturday. Hang on, I'm going to adjust this. Is that better? How's that? Is that better? Where's everyone from? Let me see. Who's in the room? Who's in the chat? Hey from Montana. Hey Lucy. Hey Becky. Good, we're filling up now. Hey Kathy. CR. Kathy from UK. Pennsylvania. Excellent, good. So, then President Trump's had one of his rallies at Wyoming. Casper the Friendly Ghost. Ghost is 69, checkmate. People Financial 69. Good, we're filling up now. It's good to see everyone. Yeah, excellent. And while you're on, those that are first in, do check that you're subscribed if you would, because just needed to always keep on top of that. Double check that you're subscribed to Psych Club. Click the notification bell if you would, give us a thumbs up. And double click it, so subscribe and then the notification bell. That means you'll get all the broadcasts. And just check that check that regularly if you would, if you hear what I'm saying. And also subscribe to the Tom Numbers Show. So we've got episodes there with everyone as well. Good, okay. Well, let's begin, shall we? Okay. So I might even do a decode on the speech that President Trump gave on Friday in Texas, because there was a lot of numbers with that as well. But let's look at this here. Incidentally, did everyone get a chance to watch the last two episodes? One with Danny Ramplin. I've posted it's a Tom Numbers episode, but I posted it first on Psych Club to let people view it. Good, we've got 180 in the chat. 180 flip. North Central Pennsylvania. Carol, excellent. And also the one with Peter Hitchens. Did you see that one? We've got some more like that coming up, so there'll be some more fun episodes coming up. Florida, excellent. Okay, so let's begin. So I got some good things prepared for you. Okay. So, did everyone get to see President Trump's rally? Also, as well, if you want to know how to do the numbers, there'll be a link in the description. Not right now. As soon as I finish the live, I'll put the link up. But it will say how to do the numbers with Tom, and it's called Trumpology actually. So you'll get to know how to do the numbers that I do. But I learned it from President Trump, and I'll illustrate that as we go through all of this. Okay, so on Saturday evening, stroke Sunday morning here in the UK, President Trump gave his rally at Casper, Wyoming. Apparently it was the largest ever kind of rally they've ever had in Casper, apparently. So, not that sounds like I'm doubting it, no. Apparently it was, so it was. But I'm thinking whether that was a stadium or a rally. Anyway, it was it broke a record, as they always do, so. Okay, so President Trump very early said MAGA country, said that Wyoming was MAGA country. Now that caught my attention because of a few things. So MAGA is 22, which is the atomic number for gold. Sorry, not the atomic number, the atomic symbol for gold, AU, is 22. So A is 1, U is 22. If you add up, if you're new, simple gematria, A equals the first letter 1, B 2, C 3, D 4, all the way through to Z or Z to 26. You add up the letters, you get a numerical value for the word or phrase or anything. And country is 16, 116. It's also a day of the week, Thursday. Now here in the UK, this Thursday, June 2nd, we're going to see the beginning of the Jubilee here in the UK of the Queen's 70th year. I've spoken about that a little bit before, and you'll see down in the script, well, down in the video selection, you'll see the one I did of the Buckingham Palace about 3 weeks ago now. You can't get anywhere near it now. It's all blocked off. They've got like a stadium bit outside the front of it. Stadium is 87 actually, truth. So I'd be interested to see what happens there. But MAGA country comes to 138, comes to Donald Trump. So right off the bat, brilliant, sir. You were saying MAGA country is 138, Donald Trump. It's also the saviour. It's also revaluation 138. It's also Bluebird Motel, and I've mentioned that already in terms of Back to the Future as a marker in the film. But then he added Ultra MAGA. Ultra MAGA country. Ultra is 72, which is first, which is money. Makes me think of America First. America First is 122, which is Millennium, Kansas City. It's a few other things. But Ultra, yeah, 72. River, you've got the River Thames here in London. River Thames is 138, Donald Trump 138. River 72, Ultra 72. But Ultra MAGA comes to 94, which comes to November, comes to Ace of Spades, comes to John, comes to Skynet from Terminator 2. And country, as I said, is 116, which is Thursday. But if you do Ultra MAGA country, which is what President Trump said, then that comes to 210. 210 comes to a few values, but it comes to the 4th of July. So if you say the 4th of July, it comes to it comes to 210. And then that also comes to first revaluation. It also comes to money revaluation. It comes to November Thursday. The 1st November, the first Thursday in November this year will be 11/3. So that makes me think of some things. And 11/3, 113 is universe, it's trumpet. So, you know. But this is interesting. So the 4th of July, 210, that's obviously Independence Day. Independence Day comes to 128 when you spell it out. The 4th of July is actually in a normal year, not a leap year. So this is a normal year. It's actually on the 185th day of the year. Oh wow! I just realised something. So the 185th day of the year, 185 comes to Donald John Trump. 185. Could you please turn up your volume? Oh. Well, I think everyone else can hear it, Mary, so yeah. You can't hear me? I don't believe that. Let's have a look. Can everyone hear me? You should be able to hear me fine. Can you hear me? Yeah? Give me a thumbs up. Can you hear me? Who can hear me good? Give a thumbs up. Volume is good, yes, okay. Excellent, thanks everyone. Good, that's good to know. So if it is a little low, then just adjust your speakers, you know, just adjust the volume at your end, because it's on full here and I'm just about 3 feet away from the microphone. So, okay, so the 4th of July is the 158th day of the year. 185 comes to Book of Revelation, it comes to Donald John Trump, it comes to City of London, it comes to World Trade Center, it comes to global financial reset. And I've just realized something which I should have realized. Maybe I did a few years ago, but I don't think I did, but it's come to my mind again. So who remembers President Trump speaking in 2020 at Mount Rushmore on July 3rd, not July 4th? He spoke on July 4th in Washington DC, and I thought probably the most mesmeric and wonderful performance that he gave was on July 3rd at the foot of Mount Rushmore, Mount Rushmore being 200, 200 being Westminster Abbey, 200 being like a thief in the night, the biblical phrase. But it was 3rd of July, it was July 3rd. And I was thinking, okay, so that's not 158th day of the year, but it was, because it was on a leap year. So 2020 was a leap year. So it had 29 days in February, therefore you added one extra day. Therefore, July 3rd was the 185th day of the year. And that made perfect sense. Because if you watch that back, President Trump gives you many, many, many clues. And thank you, sir, for them all. It gives you many, many clues about the great and glorious things that are going to come to pass. All the great things that are going to be given to the meek when they inherit the earth. And it was the 185th day of the year. 185 comes to Donald John Trump, it comes to Book of Revelation, it comes to global financial reset. So I'd encourage people to watch that when he was at the foot of Mount Rushmore. And at the foot of Mount Rushmore, the town there is called Keystone, which is 114, which is also frequency, which is also history, which is also sovereign. And President Trump spoke very deliberately in that address almost 2 years ago, and very powerfully. And I remember him saying, it's now time for people to stand up and to speak powerfully and to speak loudly. And I'd set my channel up, Psych Club, in May. I set it up before that, but the first video was in May. And then I was learning lots of numbers, getting good at it in private groups. And I remember him saying, now is the time to speak up loudly. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I've been thinking for a few months, I need to just do more broadcasts. And then I got invited on Charlie's show, and then that's kind of when a lot of people started to see my work. And yeah. So incidentally, if you're watching this live, or when you re-watch it back, or someone's not watching it live, I made note of this last week, and I was going to do something a few days ago, but just different things happened that I haven't done, but I'm going to mention it now. So Psych Club has its 2-year birthday. So on May 20th, that was the first time I posted a video on Psych Club. I came up with the name in October, I should say May 20th of 2020. Back then, when we were in the world was, well, it's different now, but it was very different back then. It was very unusual. And I remember thinking for a couple of months, I have to say something. And the numbers were coming to me as early as March 2020. And I was figuring them out, and I was like, I've got to say something. And I did. And I guess I stepped up. As Bev Trout says, step up to the plate. I did. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Honestly, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I was going to get a knock at the door, or I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure. But we're over those times now, although we're into different phases. But I had to say something, so I did. And I spoke about the number 17. I spoke about Q. I spoke about President Trump. I spoke about the Space Force flag. I spoke about meeting Ivanka Trump. I spoke about Diana. I spoke about the Kennedys, the eternal flame, and my faith and belief in the good things that were coming to pass. So, oh, thank you, bless you, Jackie. That's very kind of you. Thank you. And so yeah, so Psych Club has had its birthday. So we had it just last week, and yeah, May 20th, 2020. So just over 2 years ago was the first video. So yeah. Thanks for all those that support. Thanks for those that send things in via PayPal. Those that do super likes and super stickers and super chats. And there's a super thanks button now. So when you rewatch it, you can easily see it at the description. Just below the description, there's a dollar with a heart sign. You can click that. And if you like the channel and you want to donate it, anything for the 2-year celebration of Psych Club, it'd be much appreciated. And I'm looking to get a laptop soon, so I can make even better videos for you all. So thank you. But without my audience, then I would just be talking into a phone, which I am doing. But it's amazing to know that I have the real interaction with people. And I know that for sure because I meet people here in London. I've met people in America. I've met people all over. So I'm very, very grateful to all of you, and love my love supporters. So thank you very much. We've got 443. I think we just had 444 in the room. So anyway, so that, yeah, so that's, thank you for helping me kind of discover that. The 185th day of the year in 2020, because it was a leap year, was July 3rd, and that's when President Trump spoke at Rushmore. Because I always wondered, why did he give the real powerful speech? Not that the other one wasn't, but why did he give the real kind of mega speech on July 3rd instead of July 4th? Because July 3rd that year was the 158th day of the year, 185th day of the year, which is his full name, Donald John Trump 185. It's also the silver exchange, or the silver reset. It's also the matrix reset. It's also the awakening reset. All of those values come to 185. So, but going back to the speech at Wyoming. So yeah, President Trump, ultra MAGA country comes at 210. So I do believe that's a reference to Independence Day, which is the 4th of July, because it comes at 210. There's a few other things as well, but it comes to that. I haven't done the numbers on this, but he made a point. He said a few other bits and pieces. This is something he said. So if you want to know, even if you're not sure if President Trump speaks in Gematria, he does. And I know this. I know this because he taught me through a download. Download is 88, Trump is 88. Diana gave me a download, the Kennedys gave me a download. That's why I get orbs and things appear in my videos. And I got that right at the beginning of lockdown. So I'm very grateful for that. But this is a simple way to understand that he does speak in numbers. Even the term simple gematria comes to 148, comes to Donald J. Trump, comes to time traveler, comes to Emmett Brown from Back to the Future. He's the one that invented time travel because he had a time machine. Comes to some other values as well, which we might share over the next few weeks. But so at his rallies, you'll see that the donation text number at the Trump rallies, does anyone know what it is? Can anyone type it up? Does anyone remember what the text number for the Trump rallies are for the donation? I see it on Right Side Broadcast Networks. It's 88022. So 88 is Trump, 88. 22 is MAGA. 88 plus 22, so 88 plus 22 comes to 110. 110 comes to President, and he's President Trump. So there you go, everyone. It's a very simple and elegant and beautiful way, because simple gematria, people maybe underestimate it. It's the most beautiful and powerful and complex, I believe, and most articulate form of gematria. Hence it has the self-confidence to call itself simple gematria. But simple is 74, it's beautiful. Gematria is 74, Jesus is 74, DeLorean is 74, London is 74, English is 74, Tour, T-O-U-R, is 74. We've got some exciting things about a tour in London in September. I'll be talking more about that soon, but keep your eyes and ears peeled to that. But Messiah is 74, Muhammad is 74. So 74, Gematria 74, simple Gematria 148, Donald J. Trump. 88 plus 22 is Trump plus MAGA, add them together is 110, which is President. Okay, so I believe he's making a direct reference when he says ultra MAGA country. He's making a direct reference to 210, which is the 4th of July, Independence Day. But there might be another Independence Day, when we get independence. So, but he's making that point to us. So he said this. He said this quite early on in the speech, or somewhere through the speech anyway. So he said this. He said Billy the Kid. He said Jesse James. He said Alfonso Capone, Al Capone, and then he said, if you add all of them up, and if you double them and triple them. So I was like, okay, that's a real simple, clear, direct command to do some gematria, to do the numbers. And that's what he said. God is in full control, yes. So, Billy the Kid. Billy is 60, diamond orange. The is 33. That 60 plus 33 comes to Kingship, it comes to Nazareth, it comes to Bushnell. Bev Trout is age 93. 93 is an important number for Rachel as well, right side blonde. Kid is 24. Billy the Kid comes to 117. 117 comes to Fifth Avenue. 117 comes to Jackie Kennedy. 117 comes to Diana Trump. 117 comes to Rushmore. I've already spoken about Mount Rushmore. I think 117 comes to 30th as well, but I need to check that. I think it does. Anyway, Jesse James. Jesse comes to 58, comes to Star, comes to a guy's named Roy. You've got Roy in with Bruce Willis in Die Hard. 58 comes to Star, comes to XRP, and it comes to Robin, as in Batman and Robin. Batman plus Robin, Jasara plus Nasara comes to 109, 17, Daily Star. Zapruder, Side Club, Diana Spencer, Saturday, Parliament, all those things. But 58 comes to Ivanka. So Jesse James, 58, Jesse, 58 Ivanka. James comes to 48. 48 comes to Tom, comes to Iowa. President Trump spoke about a lot of names actually. And the day before in Texas, he got the gentleman called Jack come up, who'd saved some people at a church. But yeah, just important numbers and important names and places and people. But Jesse James comes to 106. 106 comes to Red Pilling. Red Pill comes to 76. Thomas, a Magic Wand, Ripple, Contact. But Red Pilling comes to 106, which is Jesse James, which also comes to Platinum. Platinum is the Jubilee that was going to start on Thursday, and President Trump spoke about Country. Country is 116 Thursday. It's also my buddy Letitia. Letitia is 116. Then he said Alphonse Capone. Now, he usually goes by Al Capone, but he did say Al Capone after. But Alphonse comes to 100, which is Time Machine, which is the exchange, which is reversal, which is the reset. And Capone is 54, which is orbs, which is love, which is French. He did mention France, actually, I think in that episode, in that rally, or the day before in Texas. But Alphonse Capone comes to 154. 154 comes to Second Coming, or the Second Coming, I should say. It comes to the Golden Jubilee. We've got a Platinum Jubilee coming up. That's a precious metal as well, and it will get revalued as well. 154 comes to some people in my family. 154 comes to Gotham City. You've got the Batman and Robin reference. 154 comes to the Revelation. 154 comes to Tarot by Janine. If you're watching Janine, you're probably not because you're traveling, but if you are, 154. 154 also comes to Glastonbury, and I might be there soon, actually. I'm going to be doing some things with Huna. Looks like I'll be speaking, well, I will be. If you check out Huna Flash's website, you'll see that I'll be speaking in the Netherlands and in Norway, and possibly in Hamburg in Germany, possibly in Ireland, and maybe at Glastonbury this weekend. We'll see, but have a look. But yeah, Glastonbury comes to 154. And then he said Al Capone. So Al is 13. Capone, as I said before, is 54. That comes to 13 plus 54 comes to 67. 67 comes to reset, comes to water, comes to exchange. And we've been told to watch the water. Anyway, but this is what President Trump said. He said Billy the Kid, Jesse James, Alphonse Capone, Al Capone. And then he said, if you add all of them up, so he's telling us, add all of these up. And then he said, double it and triple it, okay? So, Billy the Kid, 117, Rushmore, Fifth Avenue, Jackie Kennedy. Jesse James, 106, comes to Red Pilling, comes to Platinum. Alphonse Capone, 154. 154, actually, it also came to Queen of Hearts, and that was one of the titles that the people gave to Princess Diana. You'll see pictures of all the flowers outside Kensington Palace, and there's a big inflatable, well, helium balloon in the shape of a heart, and it says Queen. It's got the Queen of Hearts on it. And then Al Capone, 67. So, Fifth Avenue, platinum or red pilling, the Second Coming, the Golden Jubilee, reset. Anyone add all those up? Can anyone do it? Let's see what it comes to. 117 plus 106 plus 154 plus 67. President Trump said to add them all up. Anyone got that? Can anyone get it? $117. Here. 117 and 106. That comes to 223. Comes to global financial reset. Sorry, global currency reset, I should say. But then add 154, 377, and then add 67. Comes to 444, everyone. That's a magic number, 444. 444 is 123, 321. Abraham Lincoln's 123. Eric Trump, if you're listening, Eric, it's 123. Beverly Trout, or Bev Trout, is 123. And then 321. It's like, you know, ABC, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. You add them together, or it's two sets of 222. 222 is 1,000 Years of Peace. 222 is Winter White House. 222 is Wyndham New Yorker. 222 is some people's names. 222 is a lot of things. But Rachel had two sets of 222 last week. I did as well, two sets of 222. People in the UK here will know that they made a point of saying that Rishi, the Minister of Finance, the Exchequer, the Chancellor, for Boris was, they said he was the 222nd richest man in England. Today I flipped open an advert in a newspaper, said power, and it said 222 as well. So, you know, these numbers are everywhere. But 444, so he said if you double it, it comes to 888. 888 is a really massive number personally. It's one of the super duper wealth numbers. It's an overlap of Trump. It's 88 plus 88. If you overlap them, so 88 plus 88 is 176, which is Back to the Future, which is full disclosure, full conclusion. But if you overlap, so 88, and you know the two in the middle would overlap, so it'd be 888. But then he said triple it. So 444 times 3 comes to 133.2. And I managed to get a few numbers out of that. You'd probably be able to get some others as well. I'm sure you will. But one of them I found comes to 369, which is the Tesla numbers, plus 245 currency revaluation. It's also my full name, Thomas Sidney Bushnell. Plus 194, it's a very personal number, but also it's New Yorker Hotel. It's September 11th. It's 1955. It's reincarnation machine. Mark Atwood spoke to me about that briefly. I might do something on that. I hadn't heard of that phrase before. And then plus 185, which is Donald John Trump, plus 339. 339 is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So there's a lot of great numbers within those values. I also looked at this. 339 just kind of caught my attention because of the Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Comes to 174, which is currency exchange, plus 165, which is resurrection. Or you can do 339 equals 171, the revaluation, a bolt of lightning, plus 168. 168 is back to New York. Sorry, not back to New York, New York City, I should say. President Trump also said about all these characters, Jesse James, Al Capone, Alphonse Capone, Billy the Kid, and after he said to add them up and double them and triple them, he said taking the cake. He's taking the cake on it for investigations, etc. So taking the cake comes to 104, which comes to Jerusalem. And we've always been told Israel will be last. 104 comes to 14, the number 14, and 104 also comes to Skyhook, as in Back to the Future, when Marty's setting up the Skyhook to connect with the electric cable when the bulk lightning comes through. And 104 also comes to what's it called? Skynet is in Terminator. It's Elon's. It's Elon's. Can't think of it now. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's Elon's satellites. Skynet, not Skynet. What's it called? What are Elon Musk's satellite systems called? But it comes to 104. I'm trying to think what it is. I speak about it so often, but it's popped out of my head. What is it? Elon satellites. Starlink. There you go. Starlink is 104. That's it. Okay. Then, did you notice this? He was misspeaking a lot of words deliberately. Hey, who's that? Thomas Moss 444. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the super the super sticker. Many thanks. Thank you. So he said this. He's taken the cake for investigations, but he said instead of investigations, he said investigations. So he added, instead of an A, he added an I. So investigations comes to 183, and investigations is 183. He didn't actually say that. He said investigations with an I instead of an A. Comes to 191. That comes to God's perfect number. He also did another mispronunciation. He was talking about Liz. I think it's Liz. Is it Liz Cheney? He called her Cherney. Liz Cherney. Cheney's 60, but Cherney is 94. 94 is John, and it's November, and it's Ace of Spades, and but if you add those together, again, it comes to 154, the Golden Jubilee, the second coming, the Revelation, comes to Alfonso Capone, again, 154. So he's making references to that. He also said this. So the E word, where in November. That comes to 83, but he said, he dropped the E and he just said lection, and lection comes to 78, Kennedy, and I was like, oh, okay, and added those together, that comes to 161. So if you do the E word, the full version, and then you do lection without the E, 78, Kennedy, so 78 plus 83. 83 is also faithful. So Kennedy plus the full E word comes to 161, and that's an interesting one because the very first time I noticed numbers when I met Ivanka Trump, so there was Tom in the picture, people might have seen this, there's me next to Ivanka Trump, so Tom is 48, Ivanka's 58, comes to 106, which comes to red pilling, and then just to the side of Ivanka there's a golden 55. 55 is heaven, it's Melania, but if you add that together, that all comes to 161. So I noticed that. And Casper, Wyoming, Casper Y, Casper 62, which is Nicola, which is actually Queen. Y, WY, the abbreviation that they put up on the broadcast, 48. Tom, Iowa, comes to 110. 110 comes to Elon Musk, comes to the president, comes to the power, comes to the Christ. And if you do Casper, Wyoming, Wyoming again comes to 106, which is red pilling. Casper, Wyoming comes to 168, which comes to a few things, but it comes to New York City. Then President Trump said this, and he keeps re-emphasizing a large set of numbers, or a repeated set of numbers. So he said a third world war. He talked about that. Now, a third world war, actually, because A is 1, third is 59, which is Joker, world is 72, which is also money, war is 42, it's also new, it's a few other things, but a third world war comes to 174, which comes to currency exchange. Yes, time travel. And if you cast your mind back to the 16th of June, when President Trump and Melania came down in 2015 down the escalators to announce their presidency, the candidacy for the presidency, 174, currency exchange. 174 is also Luke Skywalker, it's yes, time travel, it's Eye of the Storm, it's trust the plan, but it's also a third world war. 174. But I think he's signaling other things. currency exchange. And he also made the point of this. He said, I know the power. He made a point after that. He said, I know the power. And I think he said it maybe a couple of times. I know the power. I know the power comes to, I know the comes to 105, comes to Saviour. Power comes to 77, which is Christ. But I know the power comes to 182, comes to the flux capacitor, comes to Trump's magic wand, comes to Kennedy Starlink, comes to Kennedy Jerusalem. Also, a shout out to Phil. I'll just say Phil, people know who he is. And he does his broadcast when he's in his, with his, not sleeves, but he's got his tats and his cap and kind of, basketball tops and stuff. And he's got this number to the side of him, 145. 145 comes to numerology, comes to Russell Brand, comes to Trump plus Tesla. So you've got John G. Trump and you've got Nikola Tesla. Comes to 145, so Trump plus Tesla. That comes to Scotland plus England. But it also comes to a phrase this August. So let's hope so. But that comes to 145. So that's the thought that I had when I was watching this. But then President Trump said, again, another phrase in regards to 174. He said, get off Twitter. He said, get off Twitter. Get is 32, which is life, which is Eve, which is Jim. Off is 27, which is code, which is JFK, which is AZ, A to Z for Gematria. And Twitter is 115. Get off Twitter comes to 174, currency exchange, comes to a third world war. Now this is a thought I had. So I did get off Twitter and also a third world war, get off Twitter. So two sets of 174. 174 plus 174 comes to 348. That comes to a reversal or time machine plus 248. 248 comes to the 11th of September. So have a think on that, people. This is one that I think came up separately, just some other thoughts. So love Donald Trump comes to 192. 192 comes to Governor's Island, where Stephen spoke about the new 1,000-year period, the millennium, with the gentleman from the new Chinese Republic. See the Statue of Liberty behind. 192 are some other really important and precious numbers as well. And then this is something he said, and Rachel pointed this out to me as well. I picked it up, but then she noticed it the next day when we spoke. And so President Trump all of a sudden said 48 points. Point is 74, which is Gematria. And President Trump is and was and always will be the king of pointing. The king of numbers, the king of Gematria, the king of the world. Actually, Donald Trump is the king of the world. Donald Trump is king of the world, comes to 333. And there's a huge dentist building. I think dentist is 91, Space Force. Building is 78, which is Kennedy. And it's literally a mile or two from Mar-a-Lago just before you go over the bridge. There's a 333. Donald Trump is king of the world. And Mar-a-Lago, Winter White House is 222. That's 555. 333 plus 222. But anyway, he said 48 points. So points, so 74 plus S makes it plural, comes to 93. 93 is Bushnell. 93 is an important number for Rachel. 93 is the age of Bev Trout. But 48 is Tom. 48 is Iowa. And Rachel and Bev are both from Iowa. But if you do 48 Tom, points, Bushnell, Tom Bushnell, 148 is 141. 141 is also, is reincarnation. It's Mark Atwood. I did a quick live with Mark on his channel the other day, on Saturday. 141 is Looking Glass as well, the technology. It's also plutonium, and there's references to that in Back to the Future. They need 141, they need plutonium. Then they change time. Bearing in mind history is 114. Frequency is 114, so if you change your frequency, you can change your history. Keystone, I think President Trump was making reference to that down at the bottom of Mount Rushmore, because Keystone is also 114, and you become sovereign when you can do those things. and maybe even before that. But anyway, so plutonium, the power source, the first power source in Back to the Future is 141. And then they have to get a bolt of lightning. A bolt of lightning is 171. And it's quite amazing how all this stuff happens. But then in the film Tenet, which I always referred to as well, they talk about plutonium 241. 241 is the 241st day of the year. 241 is President President John F. Kennedy. The 241st day of the year is August 29th, and Terminator 2 makes direct reference to August 29th about things happening then. So maybe directly then, or maybe another code for another day or on another calendar. But anyway, they're all connected. So President Trump is talking about 141. So he says 48 points. And then I just thought of this phrase, money, 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 because that's at the end, or it's the beginning of the theme tune to The Apprentice. Apprentice is 140. 140 is the Trumps. 140 is also Tom Numbers. Apprentice is 107. 107 is Trumps. 107 is quantum. 107 is currency. 107 is military. 107 is 20. 107 is Superman. So there's a lot of 107 is atonement. The atonement of Christ. President Trump's father's middle name was Christ. His grandmother's name was Christ, and his great-grandfather's name was Christ as well. A lot of people don't really talk about that, but it's quite clear. Look it up online. Look at President Trump's Wikipedia page. But it'll be in other places as well before people say, oh, Wikipedia can be written by anybody. But just do your research, you'll find it. I haven't done the numbers on this one. Maybe someone wants to do it, but he's also said the phrase blew everything out of the lid. And he talked about being under siege. I thought he said under sea at first, under sea, and then I think he repeated under siege. Under siege is one that he uses a lot. And he said Trumpism. I love the Trumpisms. Trumpology is the name of my workbook, an audio course to teach you the numbers, 162, Trumpology. 162nd day of the year was the day that I met Ivanka Trump, which was June 11th. June 11th is 141, Tom Bushnell. And if you do 162nd day, 162 plus day, that comes to 192. 192 comes to Ivanka Marie Trump. And we took the photograph behind, I think it's the Delmecchio Plaza. That comes to 146, Ivanka Trump. Anyway, just a coincidence, everyone. Then he did another one. So Trumpism comes to 129, Judgment Day. Judgment Day also comes to priesthood, but 129, Judgment Day. Trumpism, he says, I love the Trumpisms. And Trumpisms with an S would come to 148, Donald J. Trump. Time traveler with one L, as in the American way of saying it. Then he also said this, he said little thins. Sorry, he said little thin. He said little thin. And little comes to 78, which is Kennedy. 78 is podcast. If anyone watched Godzilla versus King Kong is Trump, 88. Empire State Building. Empire State is 131, John F. Kennedy. And it's King Kong. And he's a gorilla, and gorilla is 74, which is Gematria. And President Trump was age 74 during 2020 and into 2021. And it's right there, you can see New Yorker. You can see from the New Yorker, which is 194, New Yorker Hotel 194, September 11th, 194. 1955, 194, very important people's names, 194. You can see gorilla 74. You can't see the gorilla, but you can imagine it. King Kong, right down just right there. You can see Empire State Building right there, and then you can see Madison Square Garden, 205. Eileen Mary Adelaide Wood, my grandmother's name, and it's featured in the Batman film. And Mark Atwood did a great review of the Batman film. Anyway, where did I get to? Yes. So Kennedy is 78. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So in the movie, Godzilla versus King Kong, or King Kong versus Godzilla, that came out I think in 2020 or 2021. Literally, you first go into the film, within the first 2 or 3 seconds, they say there's podcast 245. 245 is Thomas Sidney Bushnell, and I have a podcast which is what you're listening to, which is Psych Club. Psych Club's 109. 109 comes to 17 when you spell out the word 17. So you can see how all this works, everybody, and you're the ones that get it, because you're my followers and supporters, and I love and appreciate all of you. So thank you so much, and do give it a thumbs up, like and share. We've got a good amount of people in the chat right now, so let's keep pushing the numbers up, and let's get going again. But little thin, so this is interesting. So thin is 51, which is Jasara, which is great, which is Batman, Kennedy Batman. 129, Trumpism, Judgment Day. So we already spoke about, he said he likes Trumpism, but then he repeated it not long after that. He said little thin, 129. So he's talking about Judgment Day. Get this as well, people, talking of Judgment Day. Okay, so Schwarzenegger comes to 133. The word Terminator comes to 133. White House comes to 133. Terminator 2, add the 2, comes to 135. 135 comes to Stock Exchange. And Batman 3, the Stock Exchange gets hit. 135 comes to Wall Street, Tom Street, because Wall is 48 Tom. You've got the wall down in Yuma, 310. Malachi 310, I've spoken about that before. But 135 is John Trump, and there's also Ivana Trump, the mother of President Trump's first 3 children. But Ivanka Trump was also born Ivana Trump, so 135. But then he does another one. Okay, so this is what he says. He says this. He says this phrase. He says 1/16 of a sentence instead of 1/16 of a second. He repeats it. He says 1/16 of a sentence. 1/16 of a sentence, and then he says 1/16 of a second. Sentence is 85, which is Storm, which is Awakening, which is Matrix, which is Silver. It's basketball as well, and they play that at the 205 at the Madison Square Garden, amongst other things. Boxing, Eddie Hearn had a big boxing match there with Jake Paul. They were the 2 promoters just recently for the women's match. But then he says second. So second is orange, it's diamond. But this is interesting again. So when he misspeaks, you work out the value of the misspeak, and then when he corrects himself, which he does quite often, 2 or 3 seconds later, he'll emphasize the correct word, and I add them together. So I find out what the misspeak is, I work out the value, I work out what the correct word is, I work out the value of that, and I also then put them together. So this is what it comes to. If you do sentence, when he says 1/16 of a sentence, he meant to say 1/16 of a second. Sentence is 85, as I said. Storm, Awakening, Matrix, Silver. Second comes to 60, which is orange, which is diamond. Interesting, 60 seconds in a minute, second 60. But it comes to 145, again, this August. So, let's hope. Let's hope, everyone. And hopefully we don't change the timelines. I hope we're not. I don't think we are. Hopefully not. But 1/16 of a sentence comes to 265. This comes to the constructed reality. It comes to God always rewards courage. And I'd like to make a mention to that, because I'm a courageous person, but even the best warriors sometimes need to remember to always have courage and always to act in the best way possible, and always know that God has our backs, and God always does reward courage. So if you're personally in your own lives, if you're hesitating on something that you need to act upon, and it's for the greater good, this is the time to act. God will have your back. I just wanted to kind of confirm that and re-emphasize that to people, because I know that is true, and I know that is true recently, and I will know that going forward as well in my own life. Sorry, I've got to plug this in. There we go. Is that good? Then if you do 1/16 of a second, it comes to 240. And there's a phrase in Back to the Future when Doc Brown is looking at a little portable television set. It's a JVC camcorder that Marty's been filming things on, but he's brought it back in time because he had it in the DeLorean. And he's like, it's a portable television studio. Studio is 88, which is Trump. And then he says, this sucker's electrical. So they rewind what he says when he's in 1985, just before he supposedly gets taken down by by the guys in the Tiffany blue Volkswagen. But if you do 1/16 of a sentence plus 1/16 of a second, so 265 plus 240 comes to 505. 505, as 107 says, if you drop the zeros, then it's 55, which is JFK JR, it's Melania, it's Heaven. It's a loud, clear signal, it's a 55. 25 Jack can be a 55, and 10, 5 plus 5 can also be a loud, clear signal. But 55 is probably the most coherent one. He also, I haven't worked this one out, but he said this is a hornet's nest. I've not done the numbers on that. I might do maybe in a further episode. Then he did this. He said 208 pounds. 208 comes to quantum system. Pounds is also a measure of weight, but it's also a measure of sterling. Pounds here in the UK money. But 208 is the age of my is the full value of my cousin's name. 208, Paul Dennis Bushnell. And I got the first kind of number codes from him, as I've mentioned a number of times, in Manhattan, just at the base of Manhattan, just between where the World Trade Centers were and is, with the one World Trade Center, and going across to the Statue of Liberty and to Staten Island. But when I was there in September, you could see clearly two beams of light commemorating September 11th. Two beams of light comes to 208. Come to Paul Dennis Bushnell, comes to quantum system. There's other values for 208 as well, but I can't remember that or recall them at the moment. Then he said this. He said a monopoly, and then he said a cab, and then Al, as in Al Capone, but that's what he said. So cab, and then Al. Probably can say it, but anyway, President Trump said it. So I haven't done the numbers on that either. Then he said this caught my attention. So he said 38 when you spell it, because 30 is 100, 80 is 49, which is yes. It's Luke, as in Luke Skywalker, yes, time travel, 174 for both of them. But 38 comes to 149, comes to flux capacitor, comes to inauguration. Million comes to 84, Arizona, Sunday, 40. But if you add them together, it comes to 233. 233 comes to John Fitzgerald Kennedy. It comes to the 10 Days of Darkness. It comes to gold-backed digital currency. It comes to Follow the White Rabbit. It also comes to the Hunter B laptop, if you do the full version. So, you know, the numbers are there always. And then he said about the word, he said, so gold-backed digital currency is 233, 38 million. But then he was referring to those things that begin with B when you tick a box. Ball, and then 15th letter O, 20th letter T, and then S. But that comes to $81. So 38 million, I'll substitute the B word for dollars. But that comes to a total of 314. 314 comes to 245. Comes to Thomas Sidney Bushnell, comes to the pure love of Christ, comes to also currency revaluation with a remainder of 69. 69 is financial, which is people, which is checkmate. So financial currency revaluation comes to 314, comes to 38 million B's, TS at the end, or dollars, if you know. Then he said this is one, I've already mentioned 141, because he said 90, he said 48 points, 48 is Tom, points is 93 Bushnell, add them together is 141, which is Looking Glass, which is plutonium, which is reincarnation, Mark Atwood, Looking Glass, But then he makes direct reference to it again, and he says 141 different countries. And then I think he says people may not have even known there was 141 countries. He's made reference to before when there's far more. I think there's 209 countries. 209 comes to the Empire State Building, comes to James Patrick Caviezel. But he's making reference to it, 141, and he's saying that people don't know there's that many countries, and probably quite a few people do, but probably quite a few people don't. But he's making a reference to that 141 again. So thank you for the comms, sir. Then he says this. He says represented 129, which is Judgment Day, which is little thin, which is Trumpism. 129 is the type. Judgment Day is the title of Terminator 2. But he actually said, this is what he actually says. He says represented. He says represented, which is 154, which is the Golden Jubilee, which is the Second Coming, which is the Revelation, which is Glastonbury, which is Queen of Hearts, which is Tarot by Janine, which is some of my family members' names. But anyway, if you add the misspelt one, represented, he adds an E and a T. E.T. is 25, Jack, Aliens, etc. Jack Kennedy, there's Jack Kidd, there's other Jacks. But represented, 154 plus 129 comes to 283. And 283 comes to a few values. These are some that I got from earlier from other places. The Metaphysics of Flat Earth, 283. Public Service Announcement, 283. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Rose is 57. England's 57. Tassa's 57. Wood is 57. A Game Within Games Within Games. Jesus arose on the third day. Anyway, 283. So there were some 283s. This is an interesting one. So people that saw the episode I did with Mark Atwood, we were in Regent's Park. Regent's Park is 134. Regent's is 88. Trump Park is 46. JFK was age 46 in 63. 46 plus 63 comes to 109. 17 comes to Zapruder. Comes to Saturday. Next Saturday night we're going back to the future. Next Saturday night we're going full disclosure, full conclusion, because Back to the Future is 176. Full conclusion, full disclosure. But anyway, Mark Atwood, we were in the Garden of St John's Lodge. I think that comes to 251 or 261. I've done it before, which comes to John Fitzgerald Kennedy R or John Fitzgerald Kennedy JR. Anyway, did a quick live on Mark's stream, and Tom Bushnell's 141, Mark Atwood's 141, Looking Glass, Plutonic Reincarnation. Anyway, 141 plus 141, Tom Bushnell plus Mark Atwood comes to 282. 282 comes to Transition to Greatness, and it comes to 88 miles per hour. It also comes to something else which I've found, but I might reveal that in a little way in a few other episodes' time. But nevertheless, things seem to be on time, everyone. Even though we might have thought it was going to be earlier, it seems to be on time. And time will tell. I'm understanding, feeling how timelines can change. Things can affect other things. It's the ripple effect. Things can have a knock-on effect. But if we're doing our jobs and we're trying to just put out the good light and good codes, and I feel it's safe to do so. But there's some other ones, even more potent ones, that I might share in future episodes. So keep posted. Do click like and share and subscribe. Get the notification bell, because I think I'm going to do more of these. More of my I'll do more episodes with everyone else, but I'll do more of these decodes, because I'm feeling that this is another thing I've noticed. President Trump is speaking a lot more. We don't know when the next rally will be, which is kind of unusual, but he spoke twice, Friday and Saturday. And even if you do the phrase next Saturday night in Back to the Future, next Saturday night we're going back to the future, next Saturday night comes to Friday, because next is 63, Friday, Saturday, night, 58 is night, which is also Nasara, 58. So next Saturday night Could be a crossover of Friday stroke Saturday night. Maybe. It's Friday morning or Saturday morning. But anyway, nevertheless, next is Friday. So, I don't know. Play with it. Play with the idea. He also said something else. He said reinstitute our strong such and such. But this is what caught my eye. So reinstitute comes to 160, comes to a sound of freedom. 160 is an important number for Rachel. Hour is 54, which is orbs, which is French. He made reference to France either on that session or the day before. 54 is also love. And strong is 93, which is Bushnell. Kingship, Flotus, Nazareth. It's a whole bunch of other ones that are really important as well. It's an important number for Rachel, and for Bev Trout is age 93. He also said this phrase, he said, remain in Mexico. Mahoney is out in Mexico, Huna Flash is out in Mexico, but they'll be coming over to Glastonbury 154 this weekend. 152 actually comes to my birthday, so 15th February 15/2 is remain in Mexico. So there might have been a little God wink, a little wink from President Trump perhaps there, so thank you again, sir. I haven't worked this one out yet, but I might do this on another one. These are some key phrases that he said, but I think are important to mention. So he said, they have to get the respect that they deserve, which is important for everybody in all walks of life. And then he said about China being responsible, China responsible. He said, we will hold China accountable for unleashing the V upon the world. There's probably some codes in that, I know there is. And he said strongest event. Now this is interesting. Strongest is 137, Washington. 137 comes to 17th. 137 comes to President JFK. It also comes to Richard Nixon. Comes to Casino Royale, one of Juan's favourite ones. And event is 66, which is happy. But it's also strongest event could be Washington DC event. If you look at Juan's third edition of Kid by the Side of the Road, well, Storm is his third book, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, you add those together, comes to 203. And I was speaking to Charlie today, and he made reference to something about the year 2016, obviously the year that President Trump got elected. But 2016, if you do the numbers on that, comes to 203, because 20 is 107 quantum. 16 is actually 96, which is spaceship, which is Atlantis. If you add those together, it comes to 203. And I noticed that today. Then this is a phrase, I should do the numbers on this. Actually, I might do that with you now. Should I? Maybe I should. He said, there is no victory we cannot have. Let's see what that one is. He said, there is no victory we cannot have. Let's have a look. Let's see what that comes to. I haven't done this, so I'm going to do this now. So there, let's have a look. There. Does anyone know what this one is? There. Ah, yeah, of course, light. So there is 56. There, 56 is 28. Bank, JR, man. No is 29. AUG, August. Diana, 29th. On. So there is no. And then victory. Victory. Let's have a look. What is victory? Victory. Anyone know what victory comes to? Let's have a look. What does it come to? VICTORY. Victory. I knew that. Of course I did. Victory comes to 112. Comes to Bushnells. Bushnell with an S. It also comes to Charles Ward. And I just mentioned Charlie. So 112. Victory. And then we is 28 again, because W is 23 plus 5 for E, so it's 28. And then can is 18, so that's 18. And then not is That's 49, which is also yes, which is green, which is 8. And then have, I think it's 36. Pretty sure it is. Let's just double check. Have 36. Let's have a look. Yeah, H A B E 36. Okay, so let's have a look. So there is no victory we cannot have. This is from President Trump directly. Okay, so 56 there is no. That's interesting. There is no. Comes to 113, which is trumpet, which is universe. And then victory is 112. So that takes you to 225. Add 28. We 253. So that's September 10th. In days of the year, 253rd day of the year. One before September 11th. Then can is 18. Yeah, CAN. Yeah. That's 271. And then not is 49. Huh. So 320 comes to, so there is no victory we cannot. Comes to 320, comes to liberty enlightening the world, which is the full name of the Statue of Liberty. It also comes to John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., full name for JR, for Jr., for John 320. And then have is, 36. So, yeah, 320 plus, so that comes to 356. I've seen some 356s, I'm trying to think what they are. But let's do it this way. So 356, take away 245. Oh, okay, that's nice. Oh boy, that's really nice. Okay. So 356, so there is no victory we cannot have, comes to 356. 356 comes to 245, which is Thomas Sidney Bushnell, currency revaluation, the pure love of Christ, and you have the remaining value of 111. 111 comes to perfection. 111 comes to Londinium, the old London. 111 comes to New York, and it also comes to my dear little cat Buttons. He was the name of my cat when I was a child, and my sister Tanya reminded me this week on May 29th, which was the birthday of JFK, that Buttons, that was his birthday, that's when he was born as well. Perfection, Buttons, his name was. Buttons comes to 111, comes to New York. Yeah, that's very fitting. Thanks, President Trump. That's awesome. Thank you. Rachel said as well, at the end, he said, what did he say? He said, he repeated it 3 times. It was 74, 74, 74. I can't remember what he said. Anyway, that comes to 222. 222 comes to 1,000 years of peace, comes to Winter White House, comes to Wyndham New Yorker, as in the hotel where Tessa lived. What was it, Rach? I can't remember. I wish I could call you. We'll put it in the notes. But he said that apparently right at the end. It's something on the magazine that you referenced as well. I can't remember. But it's 3 sets of 74. So simple English Gematria is 2-2. Is 222, but there was a phrase that repeated, and it made reference to Rachel's recent episode when she was talking about JFK and Junior. What was it? 74. Can't remember now. Proud. That was it. Proud. Proud. I think proud. Let's have a look. Yeah. So when he says we will make America strong again, he says we will make America powerful again, and she made reference to that. That powerful, so power is 77 plus FUL, powerful is 116. 116 is country, 116 is Thursday. The Jubilee starts here on Thursday. Powerful again, 32. Powerful again comes to 148, Donald J. Trump, time traveler. Wouldn't you know it, hey? There you go. Good job, Rach. Good spot. Thank you, President. Thank you, sir. But proud, I believe, yeah, is proud is 74. Proud. He said proud, and she made reference on the George magazine for being proud in regards to the Kennedys. So proud is 74. Proud. 222. 1,000 years of peace. President Trump said it right at the end of his speech. He's telling everyone, thank you, sir. 222. Follow the twos. Patrick Swayze told us in Dirty Dancing, follow the twos. And I think Dirty Dancing, if I remember rightly, is 128 Independence Day. And then you've got 129 Judgment Day for Terminator. Wow. It's beginning to make sense, everyone. Well, it's been making sense for a while, but it's getting more and more focused, more and more crystalline. So, all right, everyone, I think I should log off, but it's been really fun to catch up with everyone. Thanks to all of those that donated in the super chats. If you watch this after, you can donate. Just you go onto the channel on the video, and you'll see the little heart with the dollar sign. You can just click there and donate. So if you want to contribute to the 2-year anniversary, the 2-year birthday to Psych Club, that would be greatly appreciated. And do like, share, and subscribe. Send it all out. Subscribe to Rachel at Right Side Blonde. Subscribe to Kathy, Mrs. Handy Are You, Mark Atwood. Subscribe to him. Tara by Janine. Shout out to Jayco. Go and sign up to Jayco and everyone else. So all the ones that I work with, giving a thumbs up and a shout out to all of you. But it's really good to connect directly with my audience again. I haven't done it for a while, so I think I'll be doing more of these. Maybe put in the comments questions you want, maybe things to go through. I think what I will be doing though, as long as President Trump keeps speaking regularly, I think I'll do decodes on his speeches like I used to in the early days, because I think you can't get any better source of what's actually happening. All right, everyone, God bless you. Thank you so much. And thank you, President Trump. We look forward to hearing from you very soon. God bless. Thank you. Take care. Bye.